There was a time when your silence was ignored, when your absence was brushed off as meaningless. The murmurs predicted your collapse, how you would fade without their permission, without their recognition. They laughed at the thought you could endure, let alone rise without their support. They believed the world would erase you, but the world didn't erase it. Watched in stillness as you rebuilt peace by ruthless peace. Now your name carries thunder, your shadow spreads wide, and the very ones who turned away feel the bitter cut of shame. Rising alone is never a victory of comfort, it is the conquest of persistence. The nights were endless, the battle merciless, yet through it all you remained unyielding. Every failure, every betrayal, every venomous word hurled at you only ignited your climb. The isolation meant to crush you transformed into your refuge, while others drowned begging for applause. You found strength in solitude. Now as you stand above the ruins of your struggles, those who once mocked your suffering are drawn to your fire like insects to a blaze. When you rise alone, you wield a force that rattles the fragile. It is the force of independence, of knowing no chain binds you to anyone. They tried to strip away your worth, to bury your place, but your ascension was rebellion, a loud reminder that your value was never theirs to claim. Now as they creep back, longing to claim what they discarded, the irony cuts almost beautiful. Their hands once filled with stones now reach out in hunger. The ache of regret burns deeper than any curse. Those who left you in the cold now rot inside the darkness of their own design. They thought your exile would shatter you, but instead it armed you. Their betrayal was the spark, their doubts the forge that sharpened your power. And now as they see you towering untouchable, they tremble, knowing they never grasped your worth until it was forever beyond their grip. Returning to those who abandoned you is weakness for the fragile, but never for you. Your rise was forged in loneliness, in the cruel truths born from their absence. When they should have stood at your side, welcoming them back would mean surrender, would mock the very strength you bled to earn. The same doors once slammed in your face now stand open, yet you have no reason to step inside. Their realm holds nothing you seek. The faces of those crawling back are covered in painted grins. Their voices drip with there was a time when their voices rang with false promises, with hollow words drenched in sweet poison. They spoke of unity, of reconciliation, as though the wounds they carved into your soul could be erased with shallow smiles. But your memory is sharp, your scars carved deep, reminders of wars you fought and won alone. Forgiveness is not weakness, yet it is never owed freely. Let them crawl, let them choke on regret. Their burden is theirs to carry, not yours to ease. When people leave, they expect the world to bend around their absence. They assume you will break, shatter beneath the weight of their departure. But your rise was a lesson in defiance, a truth carved in stone that you were never bound to anyone but yourself. Now as they watch from below, envy dripping from every gaze, they whisper of alliances, of second chances, but their motives are thin. They want your crown, not your soul. The irony of their crawling return is almost comic. Those who mocked your spark now chant your name, their voices shaking with desperation. They beg to stand beside you, to bathe in the blaze you forged alone, but success built in solitude is a fortress, its walls carved high. Let them scream from the outside, their voices swallowed in the hollow emptiness they once created there. Please hold no weight, for your strength lies in knowing you rose without them. Rising alone does more than crown you, it renders you untouchable. Your path burned through isolation has made you immune to the tricks of those who once tried to ruin you. They crawl back not with love, but with fear of being erased, of being left behind, while your shadow spreads wider. Their return is proof of your power, a silent confession of their failure to break you. They crave the treasure they once discarded, but now all they can do is watch. You forged yourself in the void they left behind, and now that same void devours them whole. Their hands once eager to cast you aside now tremble in desperation, but your rise has rewritten the rules, and the pen is in your hands. Light and love are never gifts from the outside, they are fires born within tempered in the crucible of your existence. People try to steal them, to snuff them out, to cage the brilliance they cannot mirror. Those who abandoned you now return masked in false regret, murmuring of fresh beginnings they seek. Not the light you found, but the power it casts they hope to leech from it, to drain its glow, but the fire within you is yours, untamed, guarded, unreachable by those who only wish to consume. The universe flows with order, an unstoppable river of purpose that bends only to those who honor its current. Those who used you stumble out of rhythm, broken, disconnected from the song of its truth. Their crawling return is no redemption, but a desperate plot to regain what they threw away long ago. They see your light now, the unshakable strength of what you are, and mistake it for a weapon they can steal. But this time you see them exposed, stripped of every mask, their motives laid bare beneath the weight of your evolution. Inside you burns a reservoir of strength far greater than they ever imagined. This flame, this wisdom is not delicate, it is wild, untamed, a storm no hands can chain. They speak of love now, of unity, hoping to soften your resolve. But love, true love, does not take it, gives it, protects it, empowers. What they offer is not love, but possession, painted in hollow promises. Let them suffocate on their deception. The love within you is not a flame they can claim. Cycles are the cruelest snares, and they feed on repetition. Those who once drained you will return, circling with empty vows of redemption. They try to drag you into the same patterns, to rewind the story to a time when they held power, but you are no longer who they remember. The fire inside you has burned through those old chains, leaving no path for their control. To welcome them back is to open chaos into your sanctuary, to allow their darkness to poison your hard-won clarity. Their return drips with cruelty, a silent confession that they failed to find elsewhere what they once cast aside. In you they misjudged your strength, your capacity to rise without their blessing. And now that you've proved them wrong, their envy corrodes. They believe your rise can be reversed, that the cycle can ignite again, but the light within you does not shrink. It ascends, it grows fiercer with every moment you choose yourself above them. Their attempts to claim you are hollow, for you have surpassed the shadows they left. The intelligence of the universe lives in your breath, in your bones. It moves through you, guiding you toward souls who lift you, not toward those who drown you. The ones who used you once will always try to return, for they see your light not as sacred but as consumable. They cling to the cycle because they cannot create their own. Light cannot endure without dimming yours, but you have learned to shield your fire, to let the universe steer you toward what resonates with your truth, not what empties it. Love is the fiercest force, yet also the most misread. People confuse love with chains, with the hunger to own, to trap someone beneath their will. The love within you defies such boundaries. It is wild, radiant, a fire no hand of the unworthy can snuff out. Those who used you cannot grasp this kind of love, for it lies beyond their reach. They only know how to consume, but your light was never theirs to hold in the first place. People will always crawl back to the source of what they lack, but that does not mean you must welcome them. The flame you carry is not a doorway for the ungrateful. It is a power to be treasured, guarded, offered only to those who honor it. The universe is infinite, filled with souls who will recognize your value without demanding proof. Let the ones who doubted you stumble in their own darkness, for your road shines with the radiance they could never reach. You rose alone, and now the world knows you for what you are, a storm, a flame, an unyielding force. Those who left you crave again what they wasted, but their regret is not your cross to bear. Let them hunger, let them ache in their desire, for their endless cycle is their own cage. The light inside you is yours, a fire that moves you ahead, untouched by their return. Broken people rarely change their victims, always do. Remember that poison is a sickness of the heart, a weakness that pretends as power. Those who carry it spread it like disease, moving from one soul to the next, leaving emptiness and ruin in their path. They cling to your spirit, consuming your strength like leeches, taking everything while offering nothing in exchange. Yet the truth remains, they never shift, their ways remain constant. Their schemes expected, their ruin guaranteed. They do not heal, they corrupt. They are drawn to light, not to rise. rise with it but to snuff it out. When the toxic enter your world, they reshape your tale in their image, their lies crafted to make you second-guess, their cruelty designed to make you forget your value. They dismantle you piece by piece, not because of who you are but because of what they can never be. Their emptiness is a cavern they try to fill with the soul of others, and those who welcome them are left emptied, unseen. But the bitter truth is that even when they manage to break someone, it grants them nothing. They stay hollow, searching for their next prey. Toxic souls are bound by patterns they replay, the same manipulations, the same ruin, the same betrayal endlessly. Each new target is a mirror they hope will show a new truth, a better reflection, but mirrors only return the face before them, and no matter how many they smash, the image never shifts. Toxicity is captivity, and its prisoners cannot see their own shackles. They wound others not to heal but to escape, facing the emptiness within their soul. The disguise of growth is one of their sharpest weapons. They speak of lessons of learning from pain, of turning into better beings, but their words hold nothing. Their vows hollow. True change demands reflection, honesty, and the courage to confront one's own faults. Toxic people lack such depth. They are masters of excuses, skilled in placing guilt on everyone but themselves. Their apologies are devices, their guilt a mask, and when the stage ends, they remain exactly as they have always been. Their only growth lies in the refinement of their deception. With every target they sharpen their tricks, discover fresh ways to distort emotions, new tactics to fracture trust. They analyze their prey, adjusting to their weaknesses, preying on their fears. Yet though their schemes may shift, their core never changes, an endless void of hunger draining all in its path. While offering nothing in return, they switch their faces, their voices, their style, but never their essence. Their corruption is steady, unyielding for those who escape their clutch. The wounds remain long after the chains are shattered. Toxic souls carve marks, echoes of their ruin that linger in the mind, the heart, the spirit. Yet those marks are not proof of defeat, they are signs of survival. To endure a toxic one's domination and rise stronger is the evidence of endurance. It is the proof their attempts to shatter you collapsed, that their venom was too weak to extinguish your flame. The scars they leave are testaments, not of their dominance but of your power. The gravest danger of toxic beings is their power to make you mistrust yourself. They feast on doubt, feeding on the cracks in your belief until those cracks become chasms. Yet their control survives only by what you choose to yield. Once you expose their patterns, their influence starts to dissolve. Clarity is the cure to their games, and the instant you unmask them, their grip on you begins to weaken. They push harder, frantic to restore their grasp, yet their panic is their destruction. Toxic beings are lured to strength, not from respect but from envy. They wish to crush it. Your flame uncovers their shadows, your certainty unmasks their frailty. They strike at what they cannot be, desperate to drag it down to their depths, but strength that has braved their storm becomes immovable. Their efforts to re-enter your life are not acts of care or sorrow. They are cries of desperation, an attempt to reclaim the control they once held over you. They seek your return, not from change but from hatred of your freedom. Without them, the cycle of decay is what they long to restart, but you hold the strength to end it. They only crawl back to those who open the door, mistaking their hollow words for true repentance. But you have grown wise now. You've seen their tricks, tasted their venom, and risen beyond it. To accept them again is to reopen old pain, to give them one more chance to wound you. But you are no longer the soul they once ensnared. Your power, your rise, your radiance now form the shield they cannot break. There are some whose lives are ruled by darkness, not because the world denied them light, but because they chose to dwell in endless shadow. They lust for the warmth of your fire, the brilliance of your flame, but never to cherish it. No, they come with the will to ruin, to witness your glow collapse, flicker, and vanish, only to satisfy their emptiness with the faintest glow. Their hungry darkness demands offerings, and they never hesitate to throw you into its mouth. You have known their grasp before the icy icy reach of their disorder clawing for your calm, and yet they return again, longing to replay what once was. The familiar always tempts those who wish to step back into your world. Sense this clearly, their faces, their voices, their shadows they carry, the lure of what once felt safe. Even though what was nearly broke you, they murmur of healing, of second chances, yet their speech drips with the same poison that scarred you before. Alluring, isn't it, to fall for the lie of the known, to believe that perhaps this moment will be new? But familiarity is the sharpest dagger, one that sinks deep because it remembers exactly where to wound. Growth requires separation. Those who scorched you once will burn you again, not out of malice, but because they cannot endure the fire you hold. Their darkness blinds them, corrupts their motives into patterns of ruin. To welcome them again is to embrace the storm you bled. To escape your healing is fragile, tender like a stem stretching for light after tempest. To let them in is to unbolt the door to that tempest once again, knowing full well it seeks to uproot you. They speak of change, but their darkness clings. They vow renewal, but their shadows tower. Unchanged souls who feast on shadows do not shift, they adjust. They search for fresh ways to dim your radiance, to bind themselves to your life, wrapped in the mask of rebirth. But beneath that mask lies the truth. Their darkness is not fleeting, it is their essence. To allow them back is not risk, it is betrayal of all that you've forged, all that you bled. To shield the human spirit aches for what feels familiar. Even the venom can seem like refuge when endured for too long. They sense this and exploit it, using your recollections as tools to unseal doors you fought so bitterly to lock. But memory is a snare, a net woven to drag you into its threads, becoming means advancing forward, not retreat. And those who once scarred you are chains bound to the existence you escaped. You cannot rise ahead while clinging to the debris of what once was. They return with sorrow, with vows, with eyes wet with tears. They frame themselves as the wounded, as souls awakened to regret. But their sorrow is counterfeit, their vows hollow illusions crafted to pierce your armor. Their aim is not redemption, but to reclaim the seat they once possessed within your soul. They do not long for you, they long for the grip they held above you. Let them weep, let them plead. Their darkness cannot breathe within your light. Darkness is cunning, it shifts its mask, it twists your own mercy into its weapon. They will replay the golden days, the laughter, the moments that felt whole. But those moments were the bait, not the bond. The flame they carried into your life was never meant to guide you, only to consume. Their return is not redemption, it is the same wheel turning again, a wheel you shattered when you chose to stand alone. Let their shadows remain where they belong, outside the fortress you've built. Your glow is yours, it was never granted by those who broke you, and it cannot be dimmed by their approach. But to shield it requires awareness, a refusal to let the past shape your steps. Growth is demanding, it calls for sacrifices, sharp choices, and the strength to say no. Saying no to those who scarred you once is not cruelty, it is protection. It is the highest form of self-honor, a vow that your flame will not flicker for the ease of those who breathe in darkness. They will forever crave what they cannot reach. Your rise, your light, your power, it unsettles them because it shows them what they lost. Their shadow is their cage,